Most student pilots choose their flight school for the wrong reasons: location, price, or a flashy Instagram post. Little do they know that mistake can cost their time, money, and even their check rate. Now sit tight, because in the next 10 minutes, you'll know exactly what separates a good flight school from a great one. This is Smart Pilot Path 101. Now you might be wondering, why is choosing a flight school is a very important step in your journey? Well, it's because close to the end of 2025 and now we're approaching 2026, we can see the flight training landscape has changed. There are a lot of new facts that you have to consider and take into account in choosing a flight school. So I'll show you some of the correct and important steps for you to actually choose a flight training for your journey. First of all, it's very important, right, to pay attention on the instructor. There are a lot of experiences where so first is instructor, okay? There are a lot of experiences that we found where students are abandoned by their instructor because they are choosing an airline instead of their flight instructing journey, right? And that actually causes flight instructor shortages and longer your waiting time in terms of flight training. This fact is actually supported by a data from AOPA and Navy that, according to them, there is a high turnover rate, right? We see from the data that they actually leave flight instructing job for airline. Now let's get to it. What are actually the critical item, the non-negotiables item that every serious student must check before they enroll into a flight school, right? So first one is instructor, okay? The second one is syllabus. And the third one would be aircraft. Instructor, let's talk about one by one, right? Instructors are divided into three categories. Well, either they're only a CFI or a CFII or MEI. So CFI, they can teach private, or we call it PPL, private pilot license, or they can also teach CPL students, commercial pilot license. CFII, they can teach instrument rating, or they can teach CFII, same CFII, or they can teach, usually CFII are teaching instrument rating applicants and CFII applicants. CFI can also teach CFI applicants. But for these two, they need like a specific additional category or like additional credibility for them to actually be able to teach CFI and CFII. For MEI, of course, by the name itself, it's a multi-engine instructor, so they can teach multi-engine added-on applicants that are looking for multi-engine, or they can also teach same MEI. Now, you might be thinking, so Hara, if I'm training for a private pilot, which kind of instructor that I will need to get? What is the quality? So FAA actually have accreditation to mark which instructors are ranking high in terms of their quality in teaching, in terms of the passing rate of students that they have been signing off. So one of it's called Gold Seal. Okay, so Gold Seal instructors are an instructor that for the past months, I believe it's the past 12 months that they have been teaching, right? They will need to have minimum 80% of the total student that they sign off pass first attempt. That's the first one. Now, it would be very amazing if you have an instructor in the flight schools that you're selecting, you're choosing, if they do have a NAFI Master CFI. So this is a top tier instructor, I would say, and it's a higher rank above Gold Seal. And instructors that have both Gold Seal and Master CFI are less than 0.001% in worldwide. So can you imagine, the number is very small and it's very elite CFIs. And so getting to that position is extremely difficult, and you need to have a certain amount of experience in teaching and an amount of hours of dual given. So by having this kind of instructor quality, that can absolutely help you to determine whether or not this school is a great school, right? You might be thinking, well, Hara, every school has a syllabus. Which kind of syllabus that is applicable and is relevant for my training? It's a kind of syllabus that answers how DPE wants the check rate to be. It is very important, right, to research on how does actually the learning method in the school itself. What kind of syllabus do they use? Do they use like a customized syllabus, or do they use like a generic syllabus for every student that they train? Again, for the syllabus, I'll write it down here for your reference. For the syllabus, right? First, pick the flat school, right, that arrange your check credit prior to the flight training. This will be great, so check this out first, prior to flight training. The second thing is choose a flight school that, of course, because they arrange your check credit before the flight training, they will absolutely make your training to be customized to the syllabus, right? Because to the DPE standard. So of course, by telling this, right, customized to DPE standard is referring to custom syllabus. So by having these two aspects, it would be really great. Will also be significantly improving the way your training works. One thing that is really actually negatively impact your training is when there are too much delays. Okay, and so delays are caused by several factors. One of it is aircraft. If your school, if the school that you're researching is a kind of school that arrange one aircraft for more than, let's say, 5 students, you will need to question that. You will need to be hesitant whether or not you choose a flat school, right? You will need to choose a flat school that they use one aircraft up to maximum for 2 students. Two students only. If you choose a school, right, that arrange one aircraft for more than 2 students, or even up to 5 or even more, you can get an indication, or you can assume, you can expect, right, that your training will be delayed. When other students, they can get 10 hours in only 2 days, but you can get 10 hours in probably a week, which is a really significant amount of difference between one school and the other school. Now let's move on to the next one. The FAA training provider, right? FAA, it's considered into 2 big house, I would say. So like 2 big division. So first is part 141, and the second is part 61, okay? Now part 141 tends to be first rigid. They have something already pre-planned. It's not customizable, okay? So it's non-customized. You can't customize this. Now the second is part 141. They have so many students. Usually they apply or implement a batch system. So you probably will have like a dorm with, usually they do also provide accommodation. You will have like a bunch of friends at the same time that you enroll to that school, and usually per batch is probably up to like 50 students or more, right? 50 or more. Part 61, on the other hand, it's very customizable. Second thing is, the reason why it's customizable, or the program package or the program training, it's customizable. The reason why is because it can be an accelerated training, okay? Because it's an accelerated training, there are a lot of things that is very flexible, and adjustable. So if, let's say, you are a student that is abandoned by your previous instructor and you would like to finish up whatever you already have previously, then the right flat school for you is probably the Part 61 and not Part 141, because you want to continue what you already have, the left off part that you already done, right? That's why it's Part 61. It's the most perfect fit for you. And let's say if you are a busy professional, if you are a doctor, let's say, and you want to take leave from your work and then you want to get your private pilot in the US, then Part 61 will also be a perfect fit for you, because you need something that's fast. You cannot choose a flat school that will require you to be up to 6 months leave. The next one that I would like to talk about, despite of these two different, is about cost. Okay, you have to make sure that usually, let's start with the generic example. Usually, flat school, they have different kinds of different scheme of package, right? One that is a bundle, so a bundle package, or a prepaid. You can consider it as a prepaid, or it's a pay as you go, right? Let's focus on these two first. Now, in both of these different schemes, one thing that you need to pay attention the most when you're choosing a flat school is that make sure there is no hidden cost. Make sure everything is clear up front, and make sure that even if there is another fee, you know what to expect, what are the amounts, right? Usually, either of these two, either the bundle package or pay-as-you-go method or scheme, they always involve these several aspects. So the elements usually involve, first one is instruction fee. Okay, first one is instruction fee. The next one would be airplane rental. Okay, and the next one is usually if they do have some like ground training session, they will also put it here like a module. Usually, there are several fees that is not paid directly to the school, okay? And these fees involve what we call usually like a government fee, which involves, first, I will mark it with blue so you can differentiate it. First is check ride fee, okay? Now, check ride fee, what is that? Check ride fee is a fee that you pay directly to the DP on the day of the check ride, and they only accept cash. And then the second government fee is if you are a non-US citizen, right, and you want to do flight training in the US, you do need what we call as TSA approval. What is TSA? In detail, we're going to talk about it in the next episode, but TSA is an institution, Transportation Security Administration, which they regulate every sort of permission if there is, a non-US citizen that want to fly in the US, especially particularly in a program that they call FTSP, Flight Training Security Program. So every time there is a non-US citizen and they want to fly in the US, they will need to get an approval from this TSA. And having that application, you will need to pay. So we're going to include here as well, so TSA fee, okay? And then the next one is when you are needing an FAA knowledge test or written test, that can only be done in the US, and that can only be done in a certain testing center in the FAA. So you need to physically present. It's not something that is done online, okay? And this is something that also you need to pay. And so we can just name it like a knowledge test fee. Now, the $1 million question is that how much is this, Haura? So first, check ride fee, the range is the range is between $900 all the way to 2,000. There are DPE that also mark down the payment as high as 2,000, or if they can accept transfer, yeah, some of them, but usually it's cash. And so TSA fee is 140, and knowledge test fee is 175. All of this is in USD, okay? So it's in US dollar. So again, the first is you have to, in this part two, we're talking about which scheme or which concept of flight training that will benefit you the most. If you are a busy professional and you have some amount of leave from your work and you want to become a pilot, take your holiday and then get at the same time get your pilot license, then part 61 is the one that works best for you. And then the second thing to consider is the cost. Pay attention of hidden cost, and usually the government fee or hidden cost that it exists, but usually most people don't realize is this. Now, among all the facts that we already discussed together, all the points, all the elements you do need to consider in choosing the correct flight training for your journey, the most important thing to consider is that choose a flight school that aligns with your goal, okay? If you are a busy professional with a very short limited of time, of course you want to choose a flight school that is flexible and can be accelerated, which is an accelerated flight school that can make it fast for you, right? Some school, they will need 6 months, but you do need a flight school that can get it done in less than 1 month. Now, the second scenario, if you are a kind of student that needs a finish up program, then of course, the kind of flight school that is perfect for you is a more part 61, not a part 141, because you need something that is customizable to make sure it fits your needs. Now, let me give you a little bit story about one of our students named Mr. Gary. So he is going door to door to different instructors and ended up having 200 hours of flight time without getting an FAA private pilot. Do you know what's the reason? That's because he doesn't have a structured syllabus and have a flight school that can help him do a continuity in the training. So he keeps on doing door to door, and all the instructors are leaving him for airline. So this is something that you have to consider whenever you are choosing the correct flight training journey for you. Choose something that will get you to the end, that will finish you. And then at the end, Mr. Gary come to us, and we help him. We are being a rescue team for him and finish him in only 7 days. So that's a story for you as well. So guys, I share flight training insights every week. Don't forget to follow and subscribe to Fortune Pilot, and I'll see you on the next one.